Well, hey everybody, welcome back. We're here this Tuesday for Tuesday afternoon lunch break chit chat with the HyperDoc girls. We have Lisa Highfill and Sarah Landis and myself, Kelly Hilton here. And we have a really special guest with us today, fourth grade teacher Sean Fahey from Indiana. Fahey, sorry, got to make sure we say your name right. Sean Fahey from Indiana, fourth grade teacher. And we want to start by introducing him with a little fun introduction. So it's a trivia question, really. We're going to show you a quick movie clip and see if you can recognize that movie, and it'll let you know more where Sean is from. So check this out for the short movie clip.
Turn left light. Not talk about the next step until you climb the one in front of you. I'm sure going to the state finals is beyond your wildest dreams, so let's just keep it right there. Forget about the crowds, size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals. We've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners. Okay? All right! Let's go! Let's go! Let me hear it!
All right. Well, that was fun. We want to first introduce Sean. Does anybody name that movie out there in the Google chat? Not sure if anybody responded, but that is from the famous movie Hoosiers and Sean's home state of Indiana. So welcome. Slow clap for Sean.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, Sean is going to be sharing with us his fourth grade HyperDocs. And for starters, Sean, can you tell us a little bit about where you heard about HyperDocs and how you started incorporating them into your daily classroom teaching?
Is he frozen? He'll come back to us. There he is.
All right, I'm back. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, when I first heard about HyperDocs, actually it was last summer. My school has just went through a transition to add one-for-one, and I was feverishly searching for answers of how I was going to incorporate technology in the Chromebooks my students were going to have at the beginning of the school year. And one way was I read Matt Miller's book, Ditch That Textbook. And with that, last summer he had a book study Twitter chat, and someone on there, Carly Mora, was yelling out after a question, HyperDocs, HyperDocs, HyperDocs. I'm like, what in the world is this? So after the chat, I quickly did some research and actually found your Google Hangout on Air EDU HyperDoc, and I watched that, and I was up until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, like finding everything I could about HyperDocs, because it was just like that aha moment of, yes, this is what the tool that I'm going to be able to use that is going to incorporate technology and transform student learning for the better. And after that, I've been continuously trying to find more ways to include it into my instruction.
That's great. And thanks for sharing that. And thanks for all the sharing you've been doing on Teachers Give Teachers. Sean has a completely organized Google Drive folder of his fourth grade HyperDocs. And today I think he's going to walk us through a few of his favorites and talk us through how he used those in his classroom.
Yeah, the first one that I want to share is the design process HyperDoc. If you see it there, This was actually the first one I kind of rolled out and created. It was for science, and really what I wanted to do there was I understood that I could easily deliver appropriate digital content to my students. It's one thing, being an adult to be able to go through and do a Google search and try to find things, but a 9, 10, 11-year-old and having a Chromebook and saying, hey, here's all this stuff, go at it, I knew that wasn't going to be a success. So I wanted to use HyperDocs as a way to organize and deliver content to students, and also get them to think about what they're learning and apply it in new ways. As you can see, maybe some of that looks familiar. I actually used a template I think Carly shared, or I don't know whose template this originally was, but I used it to kind of get me started before I just kind of went out there and did something on my own, because I really wasn't too confident. But I just really liked this template, and that's one of the other great things about Teachers Give Teachers and HyperDocs is a lot of you ladies have created these templates for these beginner people to use and to kind of help organize and kind of think about how they can apply this type of learning and create new things that hasn't been possible before. Really, you can just kind of look through there and see the examples of the different activities that we did. I just kind of start out, there's a lot of videos that were linked in here. And not necessarily that I want students just to be sitting there watching videos, but for this kind of design process, learning how things are created and designed, I found a lot of good resources that really just allowed the students to be thinkers and apply that in different ways.
John, so you started with this copy of the design process template, and this looks like a template, one of the earliest templates. I know Sarah Landis made one, and then Carly added some things, and that is the beauty of using these templates, and it kind of guides the student and the teacher, I guess the teacher to be the student, where they can kind of think about what to put on the HyperDoc and how to use it in their class. So that was a great starting place for you. Where did you go from there after you went? How did you go from there to your own personal style in your docs?
Well, it was just kind of I like this this template because it kind of, like you said, it kind of made me think about, okay, kind of like the order or the thought process that I wanted to take, and kind of those steps to lead students through their learning, and so it just kind of helped me kind of put some order into thought into this is where they're at, this is where I want to be, and what are the steps necessary to get them there. And so that's what the template really helped me to do, and kind of really helped me as I started branching out and creating some of my own what was there.
I can really see like the progression from that first template we showed to this one here, where you're kind of using it, but you're starting to do some more of your own designing on this electricity. I'm looking at your electricity doc,
yes.
where you went from the design process to electricity, and this one has been shared on Twitter quite a bit, and I think used in a lot of classrooms because it's just a great HyperDoc to use to teach this main concept that a lot of fourth grade teachers are having to teach.
Yeah, and that's and with that one, you still see some similar things. The 3-2-1 just really give students some of that reflection of really to stop and make them think, because that's the one thing that I realized with my fourth graders. They were used to, we use that term digital natives, and they were used to Xboxes and things like that at home, and playing and using games, and that was but using these Chromebooks that we have now and the technology with Google Apps, and use it as a learning tool, we really need to stop them, and I really needed to get them to stop and think about what they were doing, because they were just using it like a game or activity, just get through it, and move on to the next one. which I know a lot of people are taking advantage of and adding a lot of gamification and badges and things like that into some of their HyperDocs and some of the other activities. Yeah, it's, and especially this one too, just giving them links to explore. And I love the Google Drawing application here as well that I created the table, and they could sort. And even here's another thing. If you're looking at the electricity one, the step 6 where explore creating electricity. This one was where I just had a bunch of materials throughout the room, and once they got to that, they got up. It wasn't all on the Chromebook and the HyperDoc. So giving students an organization and giving me the opportunity to allow students to do multiple things within a lesson in a class period is really beneficial with HyperDocs.
Right. I can tell you're speaking to just like the blended learning environment that goes with the HyperDoc, and I can see that in your progression where you start with kind of activating prior knowledge, tap into your knowledge, and then you walk them through the learning using the videos and some articles and such, and then there's always an application in a good HyperDoc that really shows the students thinking visually, and then sometimes they need to hop off that doc and sit, at table groups or what have you, and really explore the tools and materials themselves. Can you talk us through your Polygon HyperDoc a little bit too? Because this one just looks like a great application for the math, figure speech and math out there.
Yeah, actually, that's one of them that I kind of had notes on that we could go to next. And you're right. I really wanted to use math with HyperDocs because I think nowadays with wherever you're at, Common Core, Indiana left Common Core, but we basically have Common Core standards that aren't Common Core. But with math, it's deeper thinking and understanding. It's not about just computation and learning how to do the steps. It's deeper thinking. And so I think that's what using HyperDocs has allowed me to do, is get students to be thinking. And this is actually one of only a very few that I kind of thought of could apply right now as I'm still learning how to use them. But yeah, I really wanted them to stop and think. It kind of presents the information about what polygons are. Here I actually have 2 sections where I created a drawing within the HyperDoc and made it a quick, almost like a formative assessment, where after students got done completing this HyperDoc, all I had to do is open up each one after distributing it through Google Classroom where I could have access to it, and I could immediately see, yes, they understand what polygons are in this section. And so it was really able.
Part 2. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, sorry. Part 2. Yes.
Polygons, right? So the
Yes.
students had to click and drag the shapes.
Yep.
Because that's in Google Draw embedded within the doc.
Yep.
The polygon and not, and then you have a formative assessment right there embedded.
Yeah, it's just right there within the doc. I can immediately see. So the next day, I immediately saw 3 or 4 students, whether they were rushing through or I had to pull 3 or 4 students back and said, okay, I had some other support material. I said, okay, let's really look at what polygons are. And then we walked through them, and I said, okay, now let's go back to your HyperDoc and make those corrections. And another thing that I was able to do, I was able to add comments using the comment feature within the doc itself.
I bet your students love that, getting immediate feedback from their teacher through the comment feature.
Oh yeah. It's definitely a game changer whenever I can have students, whether that's independent work or they're collaborating together to complete this, to walk around, be a facilitator of a classroom instead of standing up and having to say everything. I'm walking around the classroom. I can be on my Chromebook kind of back in my little space, watching and observing and seeing what they're doing live, and if need to, find that student right then and there and help them when needed.
Right. Great. Is there another one in your folder here that you wanted to walk us through?
Yeah, one that I really liked because it's just so simple is the setting of the story HyperDoc.
Okay, great. I'm going to click on that. You can talk us through that one.
And that's one thing that I think is so neat about HyperDocs is that it can be as simple or as in-depth as you need to fit the needs of your students. I've seen some HyperDocs shared that were, I think, first grade, a HyperDoc for first graders. And then we saw what Rocky did last week and some of his for middle school, and there's even some higher for high school that are just like so in-depth, and those are great for those students, but for this one it's just simple. It's to the point, and it gives students choices to demonstrate their learning. Instead of saying, here, do this, answer these 5 questions, or do this worksheet, they have a choice of how they want to answer. So really it's just a quick 4-step thing is setting, just help them remind what setting is, a short YouTube video that I found, fun and silly. Those short little 3-4 minute YouTube videos always help, or any type of video helps students to really get engaged. And then again, a part where they can reflect and describe setting right now. And this was kind of interesting because we actually kind of got in a deep conversation about what is our setting. We can say our setting so many ways, about time, when, and where. And then here it has where I changed it to where I used it the last time, where it was Bridget Terabithia. I'll have to go back and make the changes, but I used this as like a template where you can add in your own reading selection, reading piece, where you can add a PDF if you want to hyperlink something, or if it's a novel that you're reading, have them put your reading selection there. They read it, and then they have 3 options to demonstrate their knowledge of what setting is. And they're really fun and creative ways to do that. And then they can just hyperlink it. You could have them hyperlink it back into that doc in a certain place, or you can have them attach it to their Google Classroom if you're using Google Classroom. Hopefully you're using Google Classroom. But this is one that I really liked too.
Yeah, this is a really great, another great example of the blended learning, because option A, students can actually just hop on a piece of paper and color an illustration. You're hitting all the, this is the differentiation part. Yep. Where students who have different strengths can show their learning in different ways, and it's all embedded on the doc. And this application here is really the game changer too, where it used to be our application could only be option A, and now we have things such as option B and C, the word cloud, word art, Google Slides, all these different web tools for students to show what they've learned and show what they know. That's a great example. Thank you. Did you want to show us, I don't know if there's another HyperDoc you wanted to highlight, or did you want to talk to us a little bit about what your students have been saying about learning on HyperDocs?
Well, how about let's real quick, just because I think it was one of the funner ones to make and actually see the students do. Let's look at the rapid changing changes HyperDoc. I really liked doing this one. And that's the fun thing about HyperDocs. Creating them is fun. Yeah. I mean, it lets us as teachers be. I had an administrator one year tell me that the beauty of teaching is it is truly an art form, in that there's not just one way. I know a lot of schools or policies of thinking that in testing think that we can just be like a factory and just do one thing, but teaching is such an art, and so creating these lessons for students is a fun part for me and whatnot. But this rapid changes, again, it's another popular fourth grade one. I know this has been shared a lot too on Twitter and Teachers Give Teachers. But again, it's just kind of, it allows me the freedom of being more one-on-one and direct with students, let them working with groups. I created a note page because, again, students like to rush through things. Mm-hmm. So it makes them stop and write things down. And I know research is debating whether or not, all this handwritten notes, and now we have technology and whatnot, but still makes them slow down. Again, you let them have the directions. And this was this spring, whenever they've had a couple of different HyperDocs. They've had many different types of assignments like this and work in the classroom, so they were able to really just kind of take off with this. And I was just like, this is easy. I put in all the work creating it, and then it was easy just to let them do what they wanted to do with it and work through it and work with partners and click the links and whatnot. And so you'll find your own groove whenever you're creating these. If you have created them or going to create them or interested in them, you're going to find your own groove. If you look at this one, I kind of created a pattern here. If you start with like the earthquake slide, I just had like a topic of what are they, quick definition, short little video, and then there's two other slides about earthquakes. How do they happen, explains them, and then a little short, more explanation video, and then an actual occurrence, and bringing real life events of these natural disasters or extreme changes to the earth to their fingertips. And that is such a game changer with technology and using HyperDocs now.
Absolutely. This is a great example because you have the objectives there in the beginning for the kids, for student learning, and then we're going through your slides and having multiple ways. And you bring up an important point, which is that HyperDocs will always be current. Whatever you can find online, now you can re-link up with the most current articles or research or live cams or whatever resources are out there.
Yep. I mean, this totally replaced a chapter in our science book.
Yeah, I bet.
And I hope if some of you are new to HyperDocs or just getting into them, this was not a one-day lesson.
Oh yeah. No.
That's another thing. It's all, you can save it. You move on. You have students. Some students get done early, but you have those. You're able to extend them and push them further in their learning. Or you have some that, okay, on day 2, 3, you're like, oh, these students are struggling and where they're at. So, guess what? You're with Mr. Fahey the next day, and we're getting caught up, and we're helping to make sure that you're where you need to be.
Yeah. And it looks like on slide number 26, you have another way for kids to apply their learning, where they can create their own Kahoots. And
that's fun. I started doing them. We love playing Kahoot, and so I said, okay, guess what? You're going to learn how to make Kahoots. And this was after the second or third time they've made a Kahoot, and they did fantastic. And so afterwards, that was our little review. We played each other's Kahoots, and they were able to control the screen, and so that was fun. Actually, the folder that I also shared with you with the student work, I have a Google Doc that has them all linked up, and I might share that on Twitter afterwards, and you guys can post that or something like that. The link to that folder.
Okay, that'd be great. I'm going to come on over now to your class reflection slideshow. It looks like your students had some things to say about what it's like to learn through HyperDocs.
Yep. So actually, the reason why I have this is because my school, as part of their kind of growing one-to-one initiative, is they're putting on like a small little conference, a tech conference, because we are one of the very first schools in our little rural area of southern Indiana to get technology and to figure out how to use them to benefit our students. And so they said, hey, figure out something that you want to do, and you're going to share. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to do HyperDocs. And so I had to supply a reflection, and so I gathered some students' thoughts, and this is what some students said with about the HyperDocs. I think they say it the best about it and whatnot.
That's okay. I'm just going through the slides as you were talking, and we will link this up as well. It's a great slide presentation, and I love the questions. You know, what a HyperDoc is to a teacher or student that has never seen or completed one before, and their responses. And then this question, would you rather have to complete a worksheet or a HyperDoc? Explain why. And Colin says, I would like to do HyperDoc because I don't like to do paper after paper.
That's right.
That's cute. And Mark says a HyperDoc because the clickable links and videos help make learning more fun.
I
And
mean,
I could not agree more with Colin and Mark.
this is my favorite response. If you go to the next one with Anna,
Yes.
when I asked, tell me one thing that you like and dislike about HyperDocs, if you, what she likes, that's fantastic. But what she doesn't like is and she put it in quotes. I did not do this. She put it in quotes herself. I don't like HyperDocs. Sometimes we have to do long and hard questions. And actually, that was something my students had to learn. It was the pushback of they had been conditioned just to do the easy worksheets, same question one after another, type idea. But now with HyperDocs, they are being stretched into deeper thinking and understanding, and that's quote something that she doesn't like because it challenges her and it challenges a lot of students. I had a lot of students fight that at the beginning of the year when I started doing some of these. I had to really break the mold, and they're still working on it. So we still have a few days left to work on them.
Well, hopefully they'll have the same experience in 5th grade since you've already laid the groundwork in so many ways.
Yep. If you go to the last slide on that, I think we're running short on time. If you go to the last slide, this is kind of my reflection and kind of my thought process of how HyperDocs has changed my classroom. It totally just became a way to incorporate technology. When I first saw that, that my aha moment was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to use technology this way. And then it realized, oh, I can deliver appropriate content to my students. Then I realized how engaged my students were. They were able to collaborate with each other on different levels. I became a facilitator. I literally told a teacher, I said, I feel like I'm doing something wrong because I'm just walking around the classroom making sure students are on task and helping them with questions. I'm not center stage anymore, and it felt really odd for a while. Differentiation, we saw that, we talked about that, how it became easier, and definitely students are becoming creators.
Wow, what a great reflection. Thank you so much, Sean, and for sharing all of your HyperDocs and your knowledge about what it takes to implement them in the classroom, because it is more than just putting the doc together. There's strategies for delivering them in the classroom, and you shared some really good insights to that. Lisa or Sarah, do you have anything you want to ask Sean before we wrap it up?
No, I just have to, I was just going to say, I just love hearing your reflection not only on HyperDocs as like a product that you're creating, but on your actual teaching and instruction and pedagogy and delivery. I mean, most of what you spoke about is lesson design and lesson delivery. The HyperDoc is just the product, and it's just great to hear that it's actually having an impact on your teaching. I just loved hearing so much of that in your comments.
Yep. You said it at the end there when you became the facilitator and you had time. We're always wondering, like, how do we meet the needs of our individual students' needs? And you just said it right there. You're freed up now. You can walk around and sit with kids and work individually with kids.
Oh yeah, the more one-on-one time now I have is unreal compared to my first 3 years of teaching.
That's incredible.
Well, we just so appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. This is really becoming a highlight of our week to talk to teachers every Tuesday at lunch break, our HyperDoc Hangout Chit Chat. And we just want to thank you, Sean, and anybody who's out there listening. If you're interested in HyperDocs, we will be posting all of these links that Sean shared. You can also follow Teachers Give Teachers and subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Twitter. We're also in the process of getting our HyperDocs and Teachers Give Teachers website up and coming, ready to go where everybody can share. And finally, the HyperDoc Handbook is coming out in a few weeks. So we will also link out the book pre-order if you would like to get a copy of our book on how to create these amazing HyperDocs and really change your classroom in the sense that Sean had shared as well. So thank you. I just want to give you a slow clap here, Sean, as we wrap it.
Oh, thanks.
Way to go. You are a champion every day. Thank you, Sean.
Absolutely. Thank you.